adjust this, please. Okay. Well, it kind of seems that our lighting is a little bit suck-ass here, so why don't we change things over a little bit here so you can see me a little bit better. So let's kind of arrange things in the room here just a wee bit better. And we could just turn this around. And we're going to do a little switch off here. And if you don't mind, and we're here in my exercise room. And I just got finished at this time in the morning. I'm not kidding you, actually. I've actually just, I'm up this early now. I'm telling you that it's normal for me. So, why don't we get this all adjusted here? We're going to start a little morning show here today. And why don't we start somewhere? Now, I'm going to have to remind you, though, that I'm not going to be able to see all your comments that readily because I don't have eyes of an eagle. But I entitled the show, it was actually a different, the autonomy of whatever I had wrote on there, whatever. Hopefully the acoustics are okay in this room here. And let's see, we're just going to do a little bit of adjustments here if you don't mind. So we're going to talk about the anatomy of a bully, and for good reason. And pardon me if I don't get to eventually leaving comments here that I don't get to it right away because I can't. The lighting and whatnot comes from outside. Can't really see your comments there very readily. Anyway, it's morning time. We're here in my little workout room, and we're going to talk about something that gives a little bit of explanation about where I was then, where I am now, and how I survived this all. And it's a good story, really. But it's pretty basic, really. If I were to condense this whole thing, it would be simply to say that, well, popularity brings other things. When I first was starting YouTube, it's pretty lame. There's nothing too exciting going on, but I had a routine. And then through the years, time really goes by really, really fast. I can't believe how long I've actually been on here. Now, people that might be new to my channel say, I hear a lot of stuff about you, but I'm kind of confused. What is this all about? Who are you? And that's kind of a complicated question because go back to your years when, you were like back in school. Have you ever been bullied? Not too much for me, but I had a few moments. But you see, back in school, when you were bullied, if you would stand up to the bullies, they'd respect you a whole lot more and you won't have as much problems, okay? If you stand up for yourself. It doesn't mean that the problem goes away right away, but they'll move on to somebody else to bully when they see, I'm just not getting anywhere. Like here on YouTube, for example, and you even heard Alan DeVinter say, forget about YouTube, that's never going to happen. I had a DeVinter, we've tried, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen on YouTube. Nothing going to happen. So we got to get other ways to get to these people. I know it's sick, but it's reality, man. And the reason I've lasted this long is that I've always stood up to these, call them what they are, man. They're fucking bullies. Nothing more, nothing less. They're still people like you are. They got a heart and a liver and every damn thing else, It don't matter how big they are, their girth and their stance. They're still just another person. Perhaps a dwarfed mind, perhaps, but that's not of your control. So the way it works, I call it the anatomy of a bully, and they will try to take advantage of you, of your success or whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be a whole portfolio of things that they're, pissed off at you about. It's just part of it is that you stand up to these people and they don't like it. They think you as an easy mark or an easy target. That's what it comes down to. And they figured if I could get away with this, we could proliferate this a lot more and we could just do what we can to try to chase them away or make them run away in fear. But you see, that's never happened with me. I've stood up to everything in my life, pretty much. YouTube, gravy, just gravy stuff. Now, of course, they cross the line sometimes, and, you don't want to take it. If somebody, for example, threatens you, take it seriously, even if it really wasn't. It was just trying to bully you, put fear in your heart. Always take a threat seriously. You have to do that. That's my advice. Okay, so how do you deal with a bully? Basically, you pretty much do what I've done. You stand up to them and say, hey, I hear you. I understand you're upset with me for whatever reason, whether it's just created on your own allegation, whatever. Of course, you have to think with a mindset. What is the source of this? So when you figure what the source of this is, then you say, well, there you go. I don't know what the hell their life was like prior to me ever knowing them or growing up or whatever it might be, were they bullied in school? Something was going on, obviously. So I would imagine so. Who we got out here? I don't even check how many people. We got 9 out there. 9 is that? I can't even read it. Anyway, for those that don't know me, I've had a channel on here for a bunch of years, and basically talking about life. I've always been a very expressive person. I've always been kind of out there, you know what I mean, with my feelings and how my thoughts were. But sometimes they can use that as a tool against you. So the more personal information that you give people, this is like, YouTube 101. And if I were teaching a course on here, if you want to make this illustrious career out of YouTube, good luck with that. Some achieve this, some don't, for many reasons. I'm trying to read the comments when I can. Try to learn, why do you respond to Ricky and you have been doing YouTube years before, even though about YouTube, honestly? Why do I respond to Ricky? Because that's all part of the process. You see, how do I just put this? When somebody's trying to do something against you and they don't win, it just infuriates them. So they try to do more against you. They want to find that magic button to push. Now, it could be your girlfriend, could be your family, could be something that you said on YouTube that you forgot you said a long time ago, that they will try to use against you. Now, all I ever really do on my show is I paint the picture of the person. This is very purposely, okay? You paint the picture, and of course, they see your shows, and because of such, you're going to get a reaction, right? Obviously, you've seen it here, the interaction. Until they get to the point they don't know what to fucking say anymore, so they become very repetitive. Then the audience gets kind of bored with them and all that. Some of them will see through that, smoke and mirrors with this person that they're not exactly righteous, and they'll make their own opinions about anybody on here. But sometimes it takes a long time to actually do that. So the approach on this is really very simple. Allow them that freedom of speech. Allow them to get it all out. If it gets too ugly, you got the evidence against them. I don't do anything but just sit here. I do a vlog. Let them do all the work for you. Let them do all the dirty work. If they're really that down and dirty on you for whatever reason, let them be. Just let it be. You're not going to change that situation. So what do? Do you run off YouTube and say, oh, they scared and chased me away? They said some really bad things about me. They said bad things about me for 7 years, but was it warranted? No, of course not, man. I'm not a criminal on here, but I just play one on YouTube, right? No, we're not a criminal. Well, I think I'm good people. And I'm not a person that's going to down himself. And I don't. I've been through stages like that, where you say, man, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't, But this person is so fucking unrighteous, and all that. So what are you going to do about it, really? The best thing you could do is to educate yourself, number one, and educate other people, but allow them to continue to do what they're doing, because people eventually, at one point or another, they'll figure out that this guy's full of shit. But this guy is a really hateful person. Damn, he must have been bullied as a kid. We don't know what his family life. Anybody's family life is like. Well, we can make our own deductions from their own behavior right on YouTube. Me, I just do shows all the time. And I try to be topical a lot of times, and I do incorporate some of the drama on here if it pertains to me, or if I think something very interesting has happened on YouTube, and people getting striked on it, the very people that attack me. It's not me doing it, really. They all think, oh, Frank's doing that. Some of it I've done, but they don't like a taste of their own medicine is what it is. That's what gets them extra mad. That's when you catch them in the right situation, where they're saying the right things that you want to hear and record and everything else. Same with Barry. What do you think happened with Barry? I let him be. I let him say everything that he needed to say, and look where he is now. So in other words, you let the person do the work for you. Sure, they're going to call you every name in a book. You'll be a child molester, a bad landlord, perhaps, cheating the system or the tax system, cheating housing and urban development. I mean, they could come up with a million of them. It's just sit back and let them say what they need to say. Of course, you know what the truth is, and that's all that matters. But you got to understand when they just can't get there, they can't grasp you in the way that they want to and control you the way they want to. They're gonna dig in that barrel and try to face and unfortunately be very redundant in the process. But they're gonna dig in that proverbial barrel I always talk about until I say, their fingers are bleeding and their nails are broken and they just can't dig anymore because it's just hard. So what do? They have to incorporate into their little soliloquies, into little monologues, other information that, of course, is not true, but they'll make it up to paint the picture that, yeah, this guy's a really bad guy. And he did this, did that, and did this. Well, everything else didn't work. So they got to go forward and say, I got to think of something else to say about him or her or whatever, to make him look really bad. But in the end, they wind up looking really bad. I got to try to read some of the comments and say, okay, Jack Doe, Yellow Man says he won't eat for 100 days. Good, maybe he'll die. Hello, Jack. Your buddy there is really exhibiting some problems there. He's doing an unsupervised program, and I'm not his physician, and I'm not going to counsel him. I'm just saying that he's on the road. If he's really not eating all this time, he's a time bomb ready to go off. He's not healthy. But this show's not about him, but in general. But what we're trying to say here, what has kept me around here this long? Well, I've always been a stubborn person all my life, and I'm not in a contest with anybody, but at the same time, I'm not going to let them win over, saying things about me that are not true. The serious things, calling somebody an idiot or a jerk and all that. It's all part of the fucking territory out here with everyone. Somebody has some kind of envy, penis envy, whatever, whether your looks or you're looking good for your age, or maybe you're making a couple of bucks on your show, whatever it might be. It bothers them, but see, the thing is, you allow it to bother them. They're the ones that's going to have the cardiacs, not me. Do I sound like I'm freaking out here? Nah. I've been so in chill mode for such a long time on here. It's like every day I wake up. If I do a show and somebody makes a lousy comment, I'm remove it. If I know there's going to be a show about me, and I know Ricky's going to do a show about scam alerts, well, you guys all know where that's coming from. I have to really go into detail and explain to you. It takes a fraud to understand a fraud. Oh, thank you, dear. It's my tea, my special brew.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Come here. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. She's so caring, She's so goddamn caring, All right. I'll just continue my show here. Thank you for the tea and a cup that's labeled love. Oh my God, Anyway, some people might think that I'm so bothered by what people say on here. And there were times that I was when they reached that plateau of, or that low point, shall I say, actually, where somebody would label you as something very serious shit, child molester, things like that, peeping Tom, all this bullshit, all contrived, all made up, and to make everybody else feel, back them up. Oh, really? Did he do that? And people are gullible. That's just the way it is on social media. I'm going to run the fan in the back here so I have a breeze coming through here. Yeah, anyway, this is my little workout room here. I'll pan it around at some point. Let's see. How's your dog? 100 days is dangerous. Well, he said he don't need food. I guess, he's so special that he doesn't need food. No, we don't need food. No. Humans don't need food. Does that sound like the most foolish statement you ever heard? But coming from him, that's pretty awful shit.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to read. Remember, the best thing that could been unblocked, most of us, that's been the biggest bone of contention for years. Thanks for the unblocking.
Yeah, I've unblocked a lot of people on here, and it's just the same thing. Though, if they just get out of control again, I'll just put them back where they were. Look, I don't think I'm the most important blogger of the year of the century. I've never tried to even indicate that. You gonna work out? No. Oh, want to shut? Let me see if the lighting's better. Well, I need a little light on me so they can see me through this. Okay, good. Okay. I'm not trying to win a contest here of popularity, or I would have done things with the show. We would have had to pay somebody to do graphics or something because I'm just not good at that shit. You know, I could have done all that, but I told you, I just call it grassroots. It's just a small show, and I tend to be very opinionated. That's who I am. That's never going to change because that's it's ingrained inside of me. I'm just opinionated. It doesn't mean I'm right all the time, but like they say, we all have an opinions. We all have an asshole. So I just put out there my opinions about stuff, and it can be taken in any context that somebody wants to take. Seriously speaking. So anyway, I hope the sound is good. It's resonating here. I don't know if I could plug into this computer a lapel microphone. Usually, would actually go into the speaker input on here, and I'm going to have to try because the one I have is they're a break on me. All these lapel mics, they never stay in good shape at all. Not one bit. So understand something, the anatomy of a bully, and you go back to your younger days, back in elementary school, junior, and then high school, and there's always going to be somebody out there challenging you. Maybe you're on a track team or something, or a football team, and one guy's competing for the ladies. I wanna be a football hero. You know that song, whatever. I'm a one-liner. But everybody wants to be a hero in some way. Everybody wants to get the attention that they feel that they deserve in one form or another. And sometimes they do it in a very negative way, and they want to draw attention to themselves. Now, this is what people like Aloe and Popeye, all these people, Roberto, all these people do. And by the way, Roberto's shows, all his videos were taken down, and Popeye's current and everything were taken down, and so forth. And who else? It's funny how that happens. They just don't learn. They too think they're above it all. Okay. Then they get butthurt when they're channeled. So that's why Aloe's making umpteen channels now. You're not going to get me off here. You're not going to get me off here. He pumps up another channel. But it's the same with RRR, with Pretty Pony, all that shit. They were all basically they just went to the wayside. They don't learn. They never will because it comes down to that they want to win. As I said, I'm not in here for competition. They want to win. They feel that there's a contest going on, that they feel they need to win this contest. I want to get the best out of you, Mr. Frank B. I'm going to show you. Well, you've showed me things, but I'll tell you what, you showed me your stupidity, you showed me your hate, you showed me your psychological profile, you showed me a lot. But you've never done anything to me that's going to make me crawl away from my show in defeat. Because that's not who I am. Sometimes I encourage all this shit. Let them say what they want. Alan admits himself. If you're trying to get Frank off YouTube, that ain't gonna fucking happen. Not even by long forming, not even by chasing him away by saying horrible things about him. Look, you make that conscious decision, every one of you that might have a show of your own, to go on YouTube. And you gotta know from the get-go that the more popular you get, you're going to be attacked by people, whether you think it. People get pissed when they see somebody out there that is maybe, perhaps, doing a little better or a lot better than they are. Now, is that a bad thing that I'm doing if look at me, I'm 69 plus years old. I don't have to wear this hat and thing in it here. I don't look bad for a guy that's 69 years old, and I've seen people on here that are even younger than that, and they're just not holding together very well. Shit, 69. And no, I'm not fucking frail. That's the one I laugh at a lot, but they can't think of it as frail Frank. There's nothing frail about. I'll show you the scale if I have to. For my height and everything else, I am certainly not frail. So I'm not like cringing at that.
If someone says frail Frank, because I know better, because I'm obviously not frail. People like Barry and people like that are frail. Other than his belly these days, which is out to here now because he's not active and all his Oreos and all the shit are going to his stomach. It's not going anywhere else. So pick and choose your enemy, you know what I mean? I've gained weight, he'll say, yeah, the wrong places. Because you've also lose muscle tone because you're not active. I'll sit here like I'll do right now and do this show, and I'll many times I'm just gonna take, a 20-pound weight and I'm gonna do some reps with this. Then you'll switch the other arm after so many. Back and forth. I'm always doing something. If not on a treadmill, I'm doing something to prevent what people label as being frail. I'll do this every day. Because you got to keep up your muscle tone. You don't have to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger. You just need to keep some of your muscle tone going and get it developed. Now, if I was emphysemic, I'd be breathing hard right now, pumping. And 20 pounds is still 20 pounds doing this, repetitiously. Some people can't even do that. You can't even do that. But point being is that if you want to be strong, you could be strong in many ways. You could be strong this way, you could be strong up here, mentally and so forth. It's up to you how you handle the adversity in your life, both on and off YouTube. I gotta read some comments here, though. I refuse to speak ill of my friends. Okay. But anyway, greetings, salutations, Frank. Do you have crumpets with the tea or maybe cucumber sandwiches? No, I haven't even eaten breakfast. This is the first thing I do in the morning is this. Nice. Yeah, it's good enough. It's not too hot. And you got everything in there, right? Normal? Okay. This is not just a cup of tea, and this consists of green tea, but sometimes because I was so generously provided with some really quality tea in a tin from Thailand from her daughter, and I got what you call milk green tea and I got Thai tea. And sometimes I'll put that in with the Lipton green tea. And then what I'll do is put the turmeric in there with some black pepper, which synergizes the turmeric by 2,000%. Okay, now put those ingredients in there. So you got the turmeric, 2 types of green tea, okay, with black pepper. And I sometimes add a little bit of honey in there too. Yeah, this is a real brew here, let me tell you. It's a real brew. And it doesn't taste bad either, no matter what I put in it. And to some people, it might be an acquired taste, but it's a good taste. And it's just loaded with antioxidants, Okay, but getting back into the topic here, being bullied generally starts in school, and it sometimes keeps up all the way through you being an adult. And a lot of these people that I've experienced on here, I'll guarantee you 300%, their life is not as perfect as they're trying to depict it to be. Well, they wouldn't spend that much time waiting for my show to come on to find fault with it, okay? It goes to say, you must have a lot of time on your hands. You might say to me, well, Frank, you must have a lot of time on your hands to do several videos a day. I do. I'm retired. As long as I take care of my exercise, if I do my chores, okay, if I'm not planning to go anywhere, town, or make a trip to Cebu or somewhere, I can do whatever I want with my time. That's the beauty and freedom of retirement. And this is a hobby, so generally people do their hobby, right? This is a hobby. It's a hobby that sometimes makes me a little bit of money. Hobby. But as with anything else, there's going to be adversity, whether you like it or not. If you decide to stay on YouTube, not everybody's going to agree. And you may decide to rebuttal people, and when you come up with some straight facts, they're very sensible and very clear to understand on your rebuttaling, whatever. They don't want to hear it. Okay, just like a spoiled child, and he's crying and wants to get his toy. He's going to get more aggravated if you don't give him that toy. You tell him, okay, Junior, you're not going to get that toy till you behave. Well, the child wants to show a certain amount of control over you because you've allowed that child to show control. For when they were an infant, they were crying overnight because they wanted their mommy or daddy, and you ran in every single time, even though you know their diaper's been changed. You know that.
You know they've been fed, so they're not hungry, and you're not using any pins on their diapers, so you know they're not being stuck by a pin. And you know your own infant's cries. You'll know if the infant is in trouble. You know how your baby cries, and you'll know if there's something out of the ordinary. You will be in there. But you see, if you give in every time the baby cries, same here, they're all crybabies out here. If you give in to them, they're going to keep on crying for your attention. Same as an infant. So mama goes back in the room. The baby's crying. I got to see what's wrong. And the husband might say, like I've done, might say, well, there's nothing wrong. We just changed the diapers. We just, gave it a formula, and very safe in the crib. There's no obstructions around there. It's mechanically sound. But only you know your baby's cries. And you can respond, and you know if there's an emergency. You're going to check in on your baby anyway. That's the way it works, because you care and you love your baby. That's the way it is. Instinctual things. But if you allow a baby to cry for attention all the time, you run in there, the baby's going to, it's like my dogs, especially one of them, I'm sitting in the chair and comes over, she wants to be massaged, or neck, or back, or whatever. So, I'm sitting there and okay. So I'm massaging her head and everything else under her neck while I'm sitting down there watching TV. The dog's saying, well, hey, this is great shit. So comes back again 15 minutes later. I need another massage. I wish I got a massage every 15 minutes, but the dog, they know what to do. If they take advantage of the situation, man, I can get my neck scratched, my back scratched, and massaged, and life is good. Life is good. So people tend to give in to trolls and kind of go along with the menagerie. They don't really know the situation, but they figure, well, I don't know. I want to be noticed, and I want to be accepted in this group. I want to be accepted. So maybe if I put my 2 cents in and say, yeah, that sounds bad. Did he really do that? What a bad guy you are. You're a bad man. You're a bad man. You're a bad man. Well, you're not. But they want to be accepted in the group. They want to get involved with something bigger and better in their life because they don't have anything going on in their life at all. So let's join a hate group. Maybe I'll be noticed if I make enough comments. They're going to notice me and accept me into their little brood. Because even negative attention is still attention no matter how you look at it. So basically, I laugh a lot, and not like belly laughs, nothing like that. Although I had belly laughs on some things I've seen. But I laugh a lot on all this because I know where it's coming from, and I know why, and I understand the dynamics here after being on here for a long time. I completely understand the dynamics of why people do things. Oh, they will go far. Oh, believe me, they will go far to try to prove their point. And what is their point? That's the question. What is their point? The point is they want to try to aggravate you. I look aggravated. I'm chill, man. I've been for quite a while, man. I've been cleaning myself up in so many goddamn ways. You wouldn't believe it, Starting to exercise on a regular basis. Nothing terribly athletic, because you've got to start small and build up. But at least I'm doing that. I'm doing something good. I'm not going to put myself on a starvation diet because I have maybe 2 inches of my belly that I prefer to lose. I'm not going to go on a ridiculous starvation diet because that's dangerous. It's also stupid. And I'm at an older age, and you can't fuck around with things like that when you get at an older age. Look, I can't stop Mother Nature Father Time, man, but I'm not going to say, I kind of take a lot of attitude with Sylvester Stallone, who does a lot of these little shorts about his life. Of course, the guy has more money than sand on the beach and afford to live this great lifestyle and all that. But he does come up with some interesting things, starting with his career or things he encountered in his life. And he's keeping healthy at his age. I forgot what his age was. He's really up there. But he's looking good. Now, of course, when he builds up a little muscle, if he took his shirt off, you probably would see a lot of saggy looking skin, but with muscle in it. But still, he's got muscle. And he's up keeping his proteins. He's up keeping his exercise, although it's a lot more moderate than maybe he used to do to play roles in movies and stuff like that. But him and other people, same people, are even Arnold Schwarzenegger at his old age, he's still
works out. And we did see him without his shirt on. And it really didn't look very pretty because he had all that sagging skin along with the muscle. It's something that you can't prevent, it looked like a mess, but still, for his age, that was actually really, really good. Okay, so it's people who stick to the program to get from point A to point B, to get there, and with less bumps on the roads, and the trip will be a lot smoother, like having, super shocks on your life, a good shock system to get out of the bumps and to treat them and reduce them down. And that's what I basically do on my show. There's always going to be somebody making a lame comment about me or so I do. It's like old hats. It's got to that point with me where, okay, another comment, another day, or they copy my channel, they might add graphics to it, they might even do some AI, whatever. You have to make that conscious decision when you decide to get involved with YouTube, and you've got to understand from the get-go that, you're going to encounter this kind of stuff. There's going to be a lot of adversity. Not any great expectations of making a lot of money on my show, not with any great expectations of getting, you can't get them every day, of getting any donations to the show on my super chat. I mean, if I get them, I get them. It's like, hey man, that's cooler than shit. If I don't, I don't. It's still chill city. I mean, nothing's stopping me from making my videos. Not hell or high water. It's a choice that I make to be on here, not anybody else's. And if I get off and truly get off, it's my choice. It will always be my choice, not theirs. Nobody's chased me off YouTube ever. I've been on here a long freaking time. Surprises my ass. But it's really having to do with the concept of bullying. If we bully somebody long enough, they're going to give in and beg for forgiveness or something. As I said, I'll admit to my faults. I've done it many times. I even done it yesterday. That I'm not Mr. Innocent on here at all because, again, with the vortex shit. But it's valid. It's a valid statement about the vortex with everyone on it. It's a valid. And so it's an appropriate word, I think. Sometimes you get mixed up with the shit on here. You mix up. You got to mix it up sometimes, or you can totally avoid the whole thing. It's really up to you how you handle things. I handle things my way. It's not always the right way, but it's my way, okay? My way. Not yours, not his, not hers. I've been successful so far. Sure, I've been attacked. But I witness other people being attacked on a daily basis. There's nothing new about that. The concept is not new on here. So I don't take it, as strongly as people think because it's been ingrained in me during the time I've spent on YouTube. It's just ingrained. And it's business as usual. There's always going to be somebody talking about you or doing a show about you or mention you in the comments section of a live stream. Just expect it. It just goes with the territory. I guess is what I'm trying to say. It goes with the territory. Just don't let that bother you. Because if you do, then you're going to be defeated. But like I said, it's not a contest to me. It's never been a contest to me. Whether my screen lights up with super chats or how many people come on my show, how many viewers, how many thumbs up, it's really not a big issue. It's a hobby to me. That's all it is. It allows me to go on a platform in public to say what's on my mind, how I feel about something, what I've learned about something. I'm not a vicious bastard like people try to paint me to be. You don't really want to see me as a vicious bastard. You've seen some of that, and somebody's in jail because of that. You don't really want me to go there with you. I'll go there. I don't want to. And I really didn't want to pursue, there might be one person. I don't really want to go in that direction and all the bullshit. But, somebody's pushing you too hard. Sometimes you do have to push back. If it's warranted, please underline that. If it's warranted, very important words. If it is warranted, I should read some comments here. I accept all you mofos. Jack Thompson says it's mostly fun. I mean, yeah, it could be fun, Jack, but that imaginary line I always talk about, you go over that line, it's not fun anymore, and you have to take action. Whether you want to or not, you owe it to yourself. You can't go on there and defame somebody's family or wife or girlfriend on a regular basis, every fucking show, or go after a YouTuber on every single show, call them things that are very deep and dirty and nasty and, unwarranted.
calling somebody a child molester or something. No, those are things that are not acceptable on any level to anybody on here. Now, unless it's happened to you, you would understand. It has to happen to you, okay? That's not entertainment. That's not fun, Jerry. That's not fun. You gotta understand, your peers probably watch the show. Old girlfriends, family members, old friends, acquaintances. They may be watching your show or listening to all this shit. Then they see these shows on there. They go on Google and they punch your name in. They see people doing shows calling you a child molester and all that. That's not acceptable. They fucked with your reputation, and there are consequences for people that go that far. But they don't think about the consequences until it actually happens. Any one of you mofos out there, if you've been attacked on a regular basis like that, and you were labeled as a child predator or something, that got back to family, your job, or whatever it might be, that's going to rock your world, isn't it? That means that you have to suddenly rock somebody else's world. It's not going to change what happened. It's not going to change what they said about you. That already became history. You can't remove what they said. But you could rock their world in a big fucking way that they're going to wish that they never said anything like that. Proof of the pudding, Mandawi, immigration, lockup, and more to come. So is it worth it in the end? All right, say what's on your mind to somebody. Why don't they just come out? It's real simple to say, hey, I just don't like you. And this is the reason I don't like you. Based on accurate information, not made up information, not hearsay. Don't make a statement because you just don't like the person. That's not good enough. Sometimes you hit a nerve with somebody. You hit a nerve, a raw nerve, and it affects them. Then they start, it's usually having to do with the truth. When you show or exhibit to somebody the truth about themselves, you hold up that proverbial mirror, in front of them, and you paint that picture that shows them who they really are. Oh yeah, they get upset. They just get, oh man, they just get carried away. They go nut city. Nobody's going to say that about me, even though it's the truth. But still, I got to be reactive to this. I'm going to show them. Oh, the family thing, the community thing. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. What do you accomplish? You can't change the truth about who somebody is. They're bad. They're bad. If they're good people, they're good people. That ain't going to change. Okay? It's just by making up a bunch of shit. It doesn't get the job done, as Kristen puts it. It's not going to get the job done. It gets to a point where it becomes old hat. And I've seen so many comments all the time. Why do we got to keep on talking about Frank? Or why do we keep on got to talk about Barry or whatever? After a while, people say, okay, enough already. Let's move on. Okay, even if we have to find another victim, let's move on. Okay, this is old hat now. Okay, let's move on with some fresh blood, whatever. Some people can't move on, like Roberto and people like that, who got an axe to grind, something that they created themselves. Did I ask Roberto to say the things he said about me, to call the woman that I love a hooker, a call girl, that at the beginning he called her and labeled her? Did I put in his mouth to say that if he ever saw me in Cebu, he'd try to beat me up and he'd consider beating my girlfriend up too? Do I control his psychology? No, I don't. What he said, was that cool? No, it wasn't. So you could understand dynamics between me and Roberto as one example. He's lacking something in his life. He's lashing out because maybe certain elements of my life he doesn't have. And it really bothers him that I've always been able to navigate my way through my channel with all the insults and still stay strong as a rock. Everybody has their own reason for wanting to attack somebody else. A lot of the reasons don't even make any sense. There's no validity to it. Just that they got caught up on this. I'll give you an example. My daughter was very young, and it was just a quest for attention. She developed this sound like a whooping cough, bring her into the hospital. They kept her in overnight. And she's just coughing away like a whooping cough. Like, what the fuck is triggering this shit? And they examined her every way. They stuck the scope down her throat. They did all this other shit. There's nothing wrong with her. It was a cry for attention is what it was. She knew, and she did it with the nurses too. When I wasn't out there, she did it with the nurses. There's a cry. She told me later on, I love the attention is what she said. Well, this is the same thing that's going on YouTube. They want the attention because they're not getting enough attention on their show. There's something missing. So they got to continue to do the shit that they do all the time. It's like that same thing, the saying, crazy is when you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, and you don't get the results you want. You just keep on repetitively doing the same thing over again, and you make a fool out of yourself. You're not accomplishing what you set out to do, and you do it over and over again, thinking something different's going to happen, and nothing different happens. Then you wind up getting yourself in trouble to make a really bad image of yourself on social media. Okay, and I just sit back and I watch this stuff.
Okay, Jack Thompson says Fazio has forgotten more than I would ever know, and he doesn't get enough credit. It seems extremely childish. The gastric bypassing. Frank, you did the same to Dave.
Well, no, I'm not going to get into Dave Phelps' thing. There were circumstances going on around there. Why did he get a lawyer? Why did his niece need to get a lawyer? But I'm not going to go into this. There's more to the story than you actually know. But Dave Phelps is a non-issue to me. Let him live his life. I wouldn't be surprised he's actually back living in the Philippines. I would not be surprised at all. He's just not letting anybody know that. He wanted to make a soft opening. He wanted to come back into this country. I think he came back. It's just my opinion. It's my gut instinct that he's back here in the Philippines. That's just my thought. Okay. That's just my thought. It don't matter where he is. I mean, Dave Phelps is still Dave Phelps. And you got to understand in that situation, you're saying, well, Frank, didn't you call? No, I did not call directly anything. And I put two and two together in my mind, whether I was right or wrong, that he actually mentioned it on his show at the time about his niece, okay? Something went down that wasn't good. We all figured that out because the niece, her family was getting a lawyer. I mean, what the fuck happened? Then all of a sudden he had to get a lawyer. So something went down, right? And a lot of people, and you put that all on me, but a lot of people came in with this, and they put the words in there. They're the ones that planted that thought into mine and everybody else's head. Something not right happened. And they weren't really sure, but they would say, well, the niece's family had to get a lawyer, and he had to get a lawyer. Well, okay, something went down. We just don't know exactly what it was. Now, was it right for anybody to make an assumption? No, that wasn't right. However, I could see how easily somebody would, because something was obviously going on. That was clear. It was coming out of Phelps' own mouth, because he was discussing some things, not everything, on there. All of a sudden, he had to get a lawyer and did a statement there, okay? Something went down, and it wasn't pretty, and it wasn't ugly. So I could see why anybody, even myself, would think that there was some kind of foul play going on. Not proven, of course. This is not a court of law. And you can make all the assumptions in the world that you want, but it doesn't mean that what you think happened actually happened. You could see some of the evidence of something that may suggest, underline that word, suggest, that might be suggestive that something did not go down well between him and his niece. But we're not going to dwell on that. Too many legal elements to this and too many illegal elements to really get into this, because I really don't know. And it wasn't just me that made an assumption. A lot of other people did too. So, go after everybody collectively. Go after everybody. Something went down in Funky Town. That's for damn sure. Details not known to the general public. To his closer friends on there, yeah, they probably know what's going on. But he's a non-issue. He needs to live his life, and I live mine. That's it. Whatever transpired with him transpired. Hope he solved this problem with that, and everybody walked away happy. And that's all it really comes down to. We all say things in the past that we regret. And there's some things I will not regret that I say at all. That's my prerogative. If I find my facts are strong enough about something, I'm going to stick to it. That's it.
Okay, let's see. Pennywise says accusations within the family, but never proven or went to court. It's a feasible conclusion.
Yeah, it is. But I don't know the whole story. Now I'm not going to pretend that I do. Not even about him. I'm not even going to pretend that I know.
It's just that you're hearing from people's own mouth. You're hearing from people's own mouth that there's court going on and something happened with a family member. Something obviously went down. Something obviously went down. And it led people to come to their own conclusions that anybody would really happy with this situation. Call it whatever you want. You could all point the finger at me. Remember what we said, when we get upset with somebody, sometimes we say things we don't mean. I already went through this. And I've given out apologies for that too many times. And I just will not do it anymore. No, I'm not innocent. I'm not innocent on here. I got entangled and entwined with a lot of shit, but I learned from it. I learned very well from it. You have to learn, because what you put out, you will get back too. Okay? As well as what people put out, they're going to get back in spades too, if they don't watch themselves. They don't think nothing's going to happen to them. That's all bullshit. This guy's all talk. Obviously, I'm not. So, Pennsylvania. Someone went down as something else rose up. Yeah. Anyway, it's everything on YouTube. They get envious when you start getting super chat donations. God, you should hear it. And that's why Ricky was scheduling his show. Was it now for tonight? It was supposed to have been for yesterday. It's about scams and all this other crap because, he doesn't want people's money to be going in a different direction. He wants everybody to donate to him. That's just the way it is. That's the train of thought of what YouTubers on here. They want to discredit other people so that they can spend the time going to their show and sending super chats to them. That's what it's all about. It's about the money with most of these people. Money is a very small thing with me on here. When I get a super chat, that's a great thing. I'm not dependent on it, though. Some of these people are dependent on super chats. Sad to say, but they are. But when you get them, it's marvelous. It's great. But dependency, that your whole life depends on whether or not somebody sends you a super chat, that's a different story. I'm not in that situation, and I don't think I'll ever be. Knock on wood, but it's it's like penis envy, whatever. It's envy. They don't want to see me make any money on my show. That's the bottom line. I've said this numerous times the past couple of days. They don't want to see you send me any money. It bothers the shit out of them. Talk of the town all of a sudden that Frank, people coming alive. You release some people on your show, you unleash the hounds, and people are recognizing that Frank is being fair. He's gone to his block list. He unblocked some people. They're very grateful for it. People are showing some appreciation for my show because they're getting so tired of the same old rhetoric on all these shows. It's just getting tired of it. Just getting tired. Come on, something refreshing. Create something on your show that for these people, it's worth going back to watch, other than hearing somebody bitching and whining and bullshit stories about somebody else to get everybody's attention, to create drama so they can get subscribers and views and everything to their show and make all the super chat. It gets old, man. It just gets old. It just gets really old. Okay. What I'm going to do is, so that I can read your comments a little better, I'm going to retire back into the boudoir, which is right here, this side of the room, so I could have a direct fan on me. So hold on for a second here. Thank you. Okay, hold on, guys. And if you don't mind, give me a couple of minutes in between the transformation here from one room to the other, if you don't mind, so I can use the facilities and I don't have to get up. So don't go anywhere. I'm just going to be right back. Because I think this is really an important discussion. Okay, we're back. I hope you're not pissing in your hand. I told you, I don't have much of I have a lot of tolerance, but if I went out of my way to allow you to get on my show, it depend on you being one of my viewers. It does not depend on your interaction with me, but what you does matter. On channel here. Understand that. That's the problem. I have control over everybody on here. I could choose to have you comment, not okay. No, I'm sure you're always there, Jerry. Jerry, you need a hobby other than YouTube, because every show that comes on, whether it's Alla Devinta, whether it's you're there. I mean, what do you do with your day? I mean, I'm working out a little bit,
I'm doing chores, I'm doing things all the time because you have to. Because if you sit around all day, 24 hours on your computer, and I got news for you, a lot of the live shows you see on here, I don't always catch them live. I catch them after the fact that they were on, and then I'll take a look at them if I care to. I'm not always there watching a channel live. It's not like I'm hitting a notification button to allow me to be on. I'll do what most people do. You go through some of the trolls on here, see what they had to say on this and that. Sure, I do that. But I'm not always there when they have a live stream because I actually do other things in my life. Okay, hoping to be on. Frank, I'm going diving tomorrow. I won't be around. Okay, I'll give you know what? I'm going to give that Jerry. Give kudos to Jerry. It's not always due, Jerry, that he does. And I'm going to retract my statement a little bit on him because Jerry is doing things that are exciting. I mean, he does go diving. We know he does. I'm not around as much as you think. Well, you seem to be on every single show that's going on. You're there. You show up. I wouldn't be surprised if you took it underneath the water with your scuba tank and just to see what's going on. I mean, I hope it ain't that. Okay. Well, light up my screen. Make something happen on here. But I will give you that much, Jerry. I will give you that much. That I have a passion. And some what it might be. Jerry, I have. He goes dive of passion. Give that. What are you trying to say, Jack Thompson? You're pushing it right now. I'm going to tell you right on the again for good. Hey, spell. Now, in regards to your friend fasting, well, first of all, I don't buy that he's gone that many days without eating. I don't buy it. But it really is. If you were a friend of his, you'd say to him, no, you can't do that. You're going to kill yourself. And some people are going to say, well, let him. Remember, you're responsible. Else is. You're responsible for your own life. You are. Relax, Jackie. Okay. I'm very sensitive. You know that, Jack. I'm very sensitive. Look, we all have weaknesses of our emotion. I was watching you might find this interesting. It's this guy, he's a black British dude, the name of his show. Remember, I just don't watch troll shows on here. I shit on here. And he's interviewing a guy that's into health and all of this stuff, his guests. He has all these guests on his show. The guy was talking about his emotions. He was together with a woman for 10 years. 5 years was being together, and the other 5 was being married. Great relationship, loved her to death. Okay, so he runs into her and says, look, I got something to talk to you about. And his heart just dropped right there. Oh, God, this can't be good, This cannot be good. Then when they got to the house, at the table, and, getting ready to hear whatever she had to say to him, she says, well, wow. And his heart just dropped. And, in fact, I'm pregnant with it. I've been cheating on you. Now, remember, this guy had extraordinary love for this woman. And for whatever reason, it happened, And the topic really had to do with, can you really be monogamous in a relationship? Can you really be monogamous? Is that really truly the human nature to be monogamous? Of course, if you're like a Mormon or something, you might say that monogamy is just, they don't pronounce as polygamy. And that's part of their cult, of their religious beliefs. Whether you feel it's right as a human, are we designed to be monogamous? And that's what the guy was discussing. Now, he had to go through the grieving period. But the guy was not selfish. He was selfless. He, even at that point, because of the love he had to this woman, which was genuine, and as hurt as he was, because his whole life fell apart because her friends were his, her family was his, and everything else. And he had to let go. But because of his wish to her well, still cared about her health, that she was doing good. Relationship was never going to happen. But he had to suffer the emotional. Imagine when you invest 10 years into a woman. 10 years. Everything is just perfect. And you would never expect your woman to. I mean, I was married, and actually a 7-year relationship, and 5 of it was marriage, and 2 years was just living together, being together. And she cheated on me. She cheated on me. Now, was it the nature of that particular beast? And in that situation, I think it was. Um, was it on love? Not really. Not really. I mean, there was affection for her. She was my partner for 7 years, and we had a baby together. Okay. So, grateful to me. You leaving, man? All right. Did you eat breakfast or something? Okay, I'll see you later. Have a good day. But she was my world, whether it was a deep love affair or not. She was my world. Why would she do this to me? I treated her well. Uh, well, that's an ageless question. Why do people do the things they do? Same, they do what they do. They do it because they can. That's the bottom line. Do what they, you know. And also, I've had a relationship, and I try not to get personal on here, but I did have another serious relationship that was hopefully going to lead to marriage. And beautiful woman, blonde hair, blue eyed, believe me, pear shaped butt. I can't. I can't emphasize that. She had the package, except she was, and that was the problem. I allowed mom to develop for her. She wound up basically, I didn't find out till late. She drank, and she hid it from her father's body until they went on the wagon. Was getting all her little program, and then she faltered. She felt guilty. A friend named Jeff, and Jeff was her friend forever. And she saw her in the community, and near the Mountain View area. And there's another Mountain View. This was in the Silicon Valley area. She decided that, and we had, okay, but on the shelf. And she didn't really want to devote to get married to me because she knew, remember, I wrote a book on that, Bulimia and Relationships. I wrote a pamphlet. And she didn't want to commit herself to that word marriage. And she, righteously, she told me. Because she said, I have myself to work on. But her way of handling things was to run away from everything. And she ran away from everything. She got her father to rent the Uber all the way down to California. And she fucked over a lot of people. She used to drink behind the scenes. And every time we went out and got together, she drank. She drank even before or during her breaks at work. Nobody really knew. But I've smelt it on her breath a couple of times, and I kind of came forward with that. I knew. But she was suffering with something called bulimia. It's very hard to be in a relationship with somebody with bulimia who has a really bad self-image of themselves, and that's why they do drink. They'll hide it from people. They'll try to improve themselves and go to the 12-step program and all that. And ironically, she got married to a guy who a chain of businesses that were for men who were alcoholics. So again, her father was a doctor, with a spoon in her mouth, and it was inevitable that was going to happen. Because seriously, I wasn't going anywhere at the time in my life at all. I wasn't the ideal candidate for her. Oh, the love was there between both of us. Absolutely. But she had to make a conscious decision to say that, well, first of all, I'm feeling guilty. Oh, God, Frank knows about me. My bulimia. He knows I've been drinking. I disappointed a whole lot of people. I disappointed. So I'm just going to run away. Then when she did run away to go live with Jeff, have a place to live, and they weren't really romantic her way out. Whether he got a piece of ass now and then is irrelevant, but she ran away from her problems rather than problem. And knew she did wrong. She says, I'm sorry what I did to you. And hey, man, I cried like a baby. When we had that conversation on the phone, she was in California. So what happened was she came over, sorry, really. At a good point, voluntarily. I remember I was sick as a dog. I was dizzy. I had the flu. Soup for me. And something was strange about this visit. I sensed something was wrong. You know, she came over, and we weren't really totally tight at the time, broken up. I was trying to work my life and blah, blah, blah. She came with a bowl of soup to help me out. Clothes, gets in bed with me. I go, what the fuck? I'm sick as a dog. What are you expecting me to do? I can't even stand up. I'd probably fall to the ground. I was dizzy. Okay, to perform. It was her way of having a last what it is from me before she left. I had no idea she was going to California. That's why she was saying that week. What the hell's that all about? She's packed up. She didn't want to let me know. Or anybody else that was friends to her. She didn't want to let anybody know that she was packed up and ready to go, and her father was ready with the U-Haul truck, California. That's what happened. Then I finally found out from her landlord that she took off to California. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you fucking kidding me? He wasn't kidding me. No, he wasn't kidding me at all. Me up. I'm sorry, but I disappointed everybody. I know what I've done to you, Frank. You have all because of how next thing you know, she's begging me to come out to California to visit her. She goes, I don't know, Frank, I made a mistake. I brought all my belongings out here. I'm not happy. I'm not in a relationship with Jeff. On the phone. And it came out why she did what she did. But the situation was not reversible. I mean, I gave in like an idiot. So I said, come on, all the way to California. I mean, where's this going? I gave in as well. A fantastic time. So I guess she was in some kind of quasi relationship with him and me. So I even came out there one more time. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same reception that I got the first. Upon leaving, I didn't have this huggy goodbye reception from her, so I knew things had changed. And I knew her behavior, sensed it. And I went, Frank, I got to work on my life and blah, blah, blah. But what did you do to my life? And how many step program? And one of the steps is to apologize to everybody that you've been total shit. So that happened to me a couple of times. Oh, this is one of those calls on your 12 step, right? Because she was 13 stepping, if you know what that is. And she's numerous times. And she did. Before that, off the wagon, and she went and ran from the world. That's do that too. Unlike her, I've always faced a point to this story. I will go as far as I can to remedy a situation and even to go to counseling if I have that much love for a woman. I want to make sure that I just can't do anymore. Work. Because if you do love somebody, you should go the distance and see if you. Beautiful gal. Beautiful, tall, Norwegian background, actually. She wasn't, I did date a Norwegian, but she had a Norwegian background. I dated a woman that's actually from Norway that was living in Seattle, but this is different. Father was a nurse. His father, decided to get into real tiring years. Left my sisters, did well in the San Francisco area. She became kind of a CEO of a large landscape. A lot of the facilities in San Francisco and the general area around there, the Bay Area, actually the Bay Area. She's probably making high five figures minimum per year. But she was bound to do that because it was in her blood. During school, she'd get teased and say, you were born with a silver spoon in her mouth, and she hated that. Well, okay, she always did. But I could not have ever made enough money to satisfy her. So it's turned out well. Of the breakup and everything else, we're human. Oh, what is that? Bacon?
Bacon.
Oh my God, I haven't had bacon in a long time. That's unhealthy, but with the eggs, toast. Jesus Christ, what a woman, right? As things turn out in life, things work out well because maybe, that karma thing, maybe it just wasn't meant. Maybe you wanted it to, or you wanted to believe in your own mind that this was the woman for you. Because I've had numerous women that I'd swear up and down that they would have time But whether there's such thing as my shoulder, or my parents were looking down at me or something and warning me or saying, this ain't right, whatever it was, whatever transpired, it really worked out well for me. And look where I'm at today. Did I ever think so? Well, it's the way it turned out for me. And I look back on for many long term, but meant there's certain ways you got to look at things in life that maybe certain things were just to be, but you get caught up in the emotion, just like on YouTube. You get caught up in the frenzy of all the bullshit going on here, people attacking each other, and you wind up being part of that. And you're not really thinking clearly. You think, this is the right thing to do, man, and I need attention. I need this to go along with this. So you went along with your relationship. You're thinking in your mind that proverbial shade. Sometimes you weren't seeing certain elements, the truth of what was going on. How good really was your relationship? How solid was your relationship? In your mind, you wanted to believe that your relationship was solid at Gibraltar. We're like on an alcohol high. You were intoxicated by this relationship and the love that you felt for that woman. Was it reciprocated? Yeah. In many cases of mine, it was reciprocated, but an element in there that didn't show its ugly head until later on. Now, by that time, I'm in a relationship. You might look at two ways of looking at it, like that glass of water or half empty time in that relationship. You got to think on a positive. Last, did this person occupy your time, space, and physically and mentally? Good for you? Good question to ask yourself. It was good for me, except for the highs and lows of her having bulimia. Were there because she was going on an eating binge, and then afterwards she'd have to get rid of it. If you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to get gross and ugly here, but she had a ritual that she did, and this is one out. I've had numerous women that I've met that I was very heavily emotionally involved with. Even the other way around, heartbroken. Hey, look, guys, I'm human. I'm not the hard ass that you think I am. I'm about the person. And people that there's no limit I would do to protect my interest in somebody that I care about very much. Because it's rare to find somebody that's reciprocated. And especially as you get older, it's more important that the person that you wind up with is going to be, because you've been through that bullshit before. You've been through all the relationships. They weren't seeing clearly. You were having wishful thinking that this was a perfect person for you. But you weren't thinking clearly. And your mind didn't want to see certain elements of the relationship that gave warning signs. Believe. That's what happens. You devote your other way to somebody. The big day spills something on you. They spill something on you that you never expected, ever. And your heart is broken. And that happened to me with the first girl I met here in the Philippines. I used to talk about her quite a bit. Package for me. But unfortunately, a lot of foreigners, when they come to the Philippines, they meet their first chick. It's a candy thing. Oh, God, I'm getting older. I need to latch on to somebody. This may be my last chick. It's not, of course. But so I got to grab onto her. I got to put that lock and key on her. Anyway, now I didn't do this like some people. I mean, I wasn't trying to buy her. Nothing like that. I came away from this in part that it was a good experience, but it was a learning. I mean, I still to this day don't know the exact facts why it went sour. It's history. But the idea, the point I'm trying to make is that you learn from the past, your own mistakes, and you also learn not to trust everybody 100%. You have to. You must. To the point something that may not go your way. As much as you have trust in somebody, as much as you both have love, there are things that could change in the relationship when you. Not all relationships are forever till you die. Of course, when I grew up, it was like would stay together to have well, Katie especially, that relationships was not lasting. It was like one and three. Wow, that's scary to make you want to get into handling deep to the bottom like a fucking submerged. Thinking I met this woman, had a ring on her finger, that much. I was thinking, so proud. I was showing pictures of her. But in her 30s, she was one of those chicks, not like a friend, but sure, very young looking. She had a lot of Spanish in her. She had a Spanish genetics, call it that. Eyes, everything. Spanish to Filipina. Good looking girl, very photogenic. I couldn't do a picture of her that didn't. This old guy probably had, okay. And same maybe the thing with Uncle Jesse, but he's girlfriend. Well, she looks, and action in the plane was like, what a fool. She's using you for your money, you old fucker. You're not going to get somebody. Man, she did look young, but he was also jealous because he was like a 50-year-old hag, and he only wishes that he could have had young. So would you expect him to come out and say, hey man, that's pretty good, man, I wish I could do that. I got some old white-haired at home. Kudos. They're not going to say that. Not at all. Now I'm not I'm not robbing the cradle. Even 8 years old. She's a mature. It's an appropriate. But getting back to, if you made that choice to come on here, then you have a responsibility with that decision to go on a show and do vlogs every day, every week, do a show. You're putting out that responsibility, and you're going to get attacked, whether you have to make your being attacked. How you want to handle it. Of course, you could consider the source also, but if they get really out of hand, like Barry did, well, then you put your hand on something. And sometimes you might have to take action. This goes with anybody. Even Ricky recently made a really lame statement about people's women. But he made a statement on 2 shows. Something, the fact how many kids she has, and what it really had related to is that her pussy's probably, whatever, spread out. Came from Ricky. Her sister, you are not showing up. So I'm not avoiding you. I scream because maybe your name was a little bit different or whatever, but chocolate. All right. You have a result. Talk about is being attacked. There's a lot of ways you can handle it, but let's go overboard. Hey, how far do you want to go with this? Very deeply. It's a deal. Can you prove? And then that's where you make your decision. Where am I going? There are circumstances and people are going to be, if you present about yourself, the kind of output you put out on your show, it's educational, can matter. The Green-Eyed Monster plays its part everywhere, man. You can't get rid of it, but you try. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to paint the. I found it necessary to do what I had to do with one individual on here. And I will do it again with somebody. I know that people are idiots. I understand that. I know they're hateful. But you have to draw the lines. I look at the pathetic, say to myself, thank your God that you're not like them. So you can look at it that way. Pity the. Or you could go into the attack mode and say, hey, listen, motherfucker, that was not cool to say about my girlfriend, my wife, blah, 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 on a constant basis, for people to label you as something that you're missing. Times. No, it's not right to say certain things you do. But if you realize you made a mistake about it, you got to man up and say, you know what? I said some things on here that I really regret, and I apologize for it. And I've done that. I manned up. That's what a real man does. Yellow man don't know what a real motherfucker knows. I'm a real man because I would fess up and say, you know what? I said something uncool. And I'm sorry about that. You know, mixing up with that. Manned up. Never said I was perfect on YouTube, and I never will be perfect. I'm just trying to run a show to do. I'm no different than the average man next door somewhere. I'm just a guy who has a fun and he likes to talk about all kinds of different topics. And yes, people invade my shows and say horrible things. They do shows about me and all that. But that's their mind. It's their gig. Whatever reason it is behind all that. I'm sure they got their own reasons that maybe to you and I don't sound valid, but it's really according to what kind of life they're living or what kind of past they had. It's like this. That's why I'm still here. Well, I would have ran away with my tail between my legs. I don't know anywhere, did I? And then, come on, man. Why shouldn't I make Super Chat on my show that I'm monetized? I don't have a problem with that. But they do. Again, they don't want to see you do well. Look, anybody else on here? I could cry like any other man does with emotion. And I've cried a river of tears in my life. Reasons. I know what hurt is. I know I don't like, be so sunk into my emotion when something bad happens. I'm human. It shows emotion. A real man could cry when the moment is needed. That's what a real man is. Just put all this tool situation. Put all this crap away that a real man knows how to work tools and everything. Oh, I know I've earned a super chat. I understand that. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't, force that horse to drink that water. Same as I can't do that. It's not a contest to me. I'm not trying to make more money than the other guy. I make anything on my show, and I said it 1,000 times. I make anything on fantastic. No on there. None. I just look at it, somebody's appreciating the particular show I'm doing, or they like my show in general, they want to see more of it, they want to give me shows. That's how I see it. It's a way of saying, hey man, thank you. Love you, bro. Keep up the good work. That's great. That's how I see it. It's not the number itself of what they send me, but it's the fact that they did send me super chat. It's a way of saying that, well, my show has amounted to something all these years. That there are people out there that actually do appreciate it, as most people think. They may not want to admit it because they talk on other people's shows that might be very adverse with mine. They would not want to expose themselves in several ways. They're coming on my show and talking, or it's going to give them away. And the fear factors, and afraid of what some lifeless, hateful piece of shit, what they're going to figure that out. But, the past few days I've been getting donations and it was fantastic. People got pissed off from it. Ricky's going to even do a show tonight. It was supposed to have been yesterday, but he had to figure the facts out because I did a show prior to him doing his show about his scam alert. So now he had to go change things. That's why he did that. It is kind of warm in here. See on. So that's why, he's going to do a show. But unfortunately, I thought, because I already beat him to the punch before a show even started. I used to do that in the game with Albert with Roberto. Then all of a sudden he canceled his show or something, or he changed it around. Jack says, folks would be surprised whilst talking to others off of YouTube. I don't know, surprised about what, Jack? Do up on here, folks. I'm not going to be on too much longer here, but I wanted to finish out the show and say there's a reason why everybody does anything, even in a relationship. You think you got it, as I, told you on hearings in my past that happened, and either way, it's a done deal. Nothing is forever. It dies on you, or something happens past a few of them, quite a few, that didn't work out right. And maybe, as karma goes, maybe that was a good thing, but it really wasn't. Karma was doing you good, saying that, no, let it happen, dude. It's for the best. And you'll find out in time that it was. And yes, each time is bonded to somebody. Get away. It's a good thing that didn't, because it probably was the best thing that ever happened to you. As I look back on some of these people, and I even see what they're looking like at this point, maybe I was lucky that the relationship broke up, because I have to be real honest with you. I do know what at least some of the old girlfriends look like. And I have to tell you, wife that I had, and I'm saying, holy shit, Frank, after all. Not that the looks are the key element in a relationship. It's not. It shouldn't be. But in retrospect, I'm just talking about in retrospect, looking back and now looking at the present, and seeing how well, not well, that they've aged, that, Father Time and whatever has not been very good to them, especially for them. The whole metamorphosis morphed. They morphed into something that, and I was just watching this on a Philippine show last night. It was about a documentary. Press with Palawan, first area in the whole country, and a variety of animals was astounding to me. But there was this one kind of how it started, how it usually does, how it cocooned, and what came out of that cocoon was phenomenal. To see the process happen, the stages of it morphing from one crawling creature to it's just amazing. It was amazing. If you do get a chance to go to Palawan, and maybe one day I will, nobody has really seen. I don't think many that go to Palawan. I don't think they do a whole lot. They go to the beach and somewhat. They may explore a couple of caves, but there's from what I've seen, so much history, so much wildlife exists there. There's even scorpions. Almost. There's even wildlife there that could only be found in the Philippines. It was a pretty amazing documentary. I wish I knew the name of it, but you guys could see it. Morphosis. And how these people that I used to date years. And if you want to be on that aesthetic level, you want to be on that cosmetic level, and that's kind of really being kind of low and being very shallow. But if you want to look at it that way, maybe you say, man, I got lucky. Look back then, believe me when I tell you that. It was really? Well, nobody knows how people are going to change as they get older. People change. Their features change. They might gain weight. There's a lot of things that happen. You can't expect to stay in your young state of mind and body for your whole life yet. But maybe one day that we don't have to go through physical changes in our cellular makeup that causes our skin to age and to get wrinkles and everything else when you get older. Very close to that. Probably not in my lifetime at all. I'm not going to benefit, but maybe your children will. Possibility. Jack Thompson says, nobody is who they are on YouTube. Completely don't. They're different offline. Maybe not. But I think they're presenting themselves in a way that would make people believe that's the way they are. And if they go as far as they do and as often as they do, then I believe that's the way they are. We think a little bit on that. I mean, why do you want to get super chat? Why do you want to cry over that? Why are you so concerned? Everybody gets it as an example, or how somebody's. When you have that same opportunity that the other guy has to get your life together. If you haven't gotten your life together, why can't you? You got to think to yourself, what doing that? So you feel that you failed, that you can't change your life. Really try. I mean, there are people that, you know, started off in poverty with $1,000 to their name and they ended up a billionaire. I've seen a few stories on YouTube about that. They got their whole life together, relationship, everything. There's no reason that nobody can do that. You just got to apply yourself to do it. You got to really want it. Just like quitting smoking. You got to really convince yourself to do it. I guess maybe I haven't yet. And you don't want to wait till something happens to you, but that's usually what happens. You got to really want to apply yourself to something. Work. And I'm going to have to, start reducing the length of my shows here, hour and 50 minutes, which is a lot longer than I wanted to, but certainly glad you're my thoughts. Remember, we all have emotions. Don't be afraid to show your emotions, but try to be positive with your emotions to other people. You could have a gripe with anybody you want on here. You could have a gripe with anybody in your private life off YouTube. Fine, but you got to handle it. Find ways of making solutions and resolve the problems. If you can't, just get away from that problem. Don't put yourself in that person's life. If it's giving nothing but negativity, remove yourself from the negativity in your life and move on. And that's what some people on YouTube really have to do. They got to move on and realize I tried everything in the world I could do. I'm just not winning at this. It's just not worth my time anymore. It creates stress for them. Instead of somebody else to knock them, dox them, put them down all the time and try to interfere with their life, guess what's really happening? If the person they're trying to is dishing it out, the court's increasing, they're doing themselves damage. So for being here and got to get off this thing it's going to be a more, I think, appropriate, I still haven't figured out the best time. Night show, as much as I have energy and that get up. Not everybody 6 in the morning. Not everybody. That maybe, I don't know. I've asked opinions from you folks. What is the best time? Hey, Jerry. Yeah. But I don't know, will it perhaps, and we'll try to get on camera more. But just to be on camera, I don't pretend to be, but I realize more people tune in when you're on camera. But I do the best I can. It's whatever mood I happen to be in. So I was on camera already today, the show, in fact. Okay, I got to tend to some business here, as well as anybody else. Pennywise says Frank is winning. Frank beat down Phelps. Roberto and Barry left YouTube. Well, call it what you want. It just turns out the way it turns out. But you got to apply yourself. That's all you can do. That's all you can be expected to do. You could take the bullshit or you could face the bullshit, what you got to do. That's why I said, I started high school, them in the long run, because they know to them. They know that you're going to the abuse from them. That's what it's all about. Okay, guys, I got to go. Hope you enjoyed the show. For those just tuning in, you can always listen to the beginning of my show once I'm off here, and we'll catch you at another time, I guess. I still haven't pinpointed when. Nobody's there. Maybe in my comments section you could have some off. You could make a suggestion as the best time on a show. Maybe we'll go. Remember, I'm here because